Okay, great. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. My name is Danielle London. I am the undergraduate enrollment coordinator for the College of Science and Technology. So what that means is that I work with all students before you officially start at Temple. So all of the students on this call have been admitted to Temple, so congratulations. And more specifically, you have likely been admitted to the Computer and Information Sciences department, or you're interested in that department, which is great. So tonight's event is going to be all about one of our newest majors, specifically in the Computer and Information Sciences program called data science. Data science is an amazing field that you're going to hear all about tonight. And I'm really excited to introduce you to some of the panelists that we have. So we have a great panel of faculty, current students, and alumni. So it should be a really great night. So just make sure that you are asking questions throughout the event. Again, just using that chat feature, which looks like a little speech bubble, or raising your hand if you would like to share anything. So without further ado, I will pass things over to Rose McGinnis, who is the director of our data science program. She is also a multi-hyphenate. She has many other titles. So I will let Rose introduce herself. So take it away, Rose.
Thanks, Danny. So we're really excited you could join us tonight, but we're really excited that you are showing an interest in our data science program. And there's lots of ways to describe data science, and I promise we're not going to do many slides because if you're like us, you're tired of slides. We'd much rather talk to you. So this is kind of a cool graphic that talks about all of the things that make up data science. It's really at the crossroads of computer science, math and statistics, and then whatever subject matter expertise is interesting to you. So that might be genomic medicine, that might be reforming the criminal justice system, that might be studying COVID patterns. All of those things are that magical center that give us the ability to use data science in really cool and unique ways. Tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about all three of those things, answer any questions, little touch on research, little touch on the job market. But as you can see, it's really the intersection of all of those things together. It also will encompass things like machine learning, artificial intelligence, modeling, bioinformatics. They all come together as part of this kind of umbrella called data science. You can go to the next slide. So we're really fortunate at Temple. We're an R1 institution, research institution, which means we have amazing faculty doing really cool work in research in data science and research in data science across all of our disciplines and all of our departments. We have data science students and students focused on data who are actually doing research up at the medical school and using data science to assist in the research that's going on up there. So we have it within the CIS department. We have data mining, we have machine learning. So when we think about machine learning, the thing I always equate it to is self-driving cars. And we also have a faculty member who's in our mathematics department, again, those intersection of those bubbles, of those circles, who is working on controlling traffic patterns and traffic flow. Because self-driving cars are really cool, but we also have to have a way to control those cars on the highway and know what's going to happen. Maria, who's one of the PhD students who's joined us tonight, she has done work, I believe, in medical informations and bioinformatics as part of her research. We also do research in pattern recognition, computer vision, right? Being able to see what's below a surface. Computational genomics, understanding the genomic sequencing, and then of course, artificial intelligence. So these are just a few of the areas that you would have research opportunities available to you within our computer science department, okay? Then, you know, at the end, it's all about careers, right? What are we going to do with what is the next stage? It may be continuing your education. It might be going on for a graduate degree in data science or a PhD in data science, or taking your data science in undergraduate degree and maybe going on to genomic medicine or some other area within life science or some other area, you know, entirely different. But a couple of the roles that you'll see in terms of careers in data science, data scientists, well, what do? They find, they clean, and they organize data, any kind of data. across any kind of subject matter area you can think of. It crosses everything. They might become you might become a machine learning engineer. So machine learning engineers create data funnels, specific data that can be used in the delivery of software solutions. Again, a machine learning scientist, right? New data approaches, algorithms to be used, deep learning techniques, all of those would be engaged in that. Data architecture, again, performance and design analytics, right? We all most of us today wear step counters and things like that. How do we use that data? What is that data good for? What can we predict out of that data that comes out of these devices? Data engineers or data analysts, right? Ability to translate large data sets to create meaningful business or science decision making, right? So how can this data help us in making decisions? So those are just a few of the roles that you'll see as possible careers in data science. Some of them do require maybe a graduate degree. Many of our we've also have PhD programs in data science that you can go on and use again, pursue additional career information. Okay, next slide. Today, as Danny mentioned, myself is here. We have Dr. Anthony Hughes. Dr. Hughes is a professor of instruction, and he is the data science faculty advisor. Very, very important faculty advisor. You know, what do you take? How do you move through the program? A really important resource for students in our majors. And then Dr. Bellacourt, she is a faculty member in our data science program, and right now she is teaching the data science capstone course, which is really awesome. It's the culmination of everything that you've learned and putting it together in a real project format so that you can really see from beginning to end the use of data science, and she can tell you more about that. She's also the lead faculty instructor for our Data 8 course, which we're beginning to roll out across all of the departments in the College of Science and Technology. I'm very pleased to say we have Maria, and I'm not going to pronounce your last name because I'm going to get it wrong. I will let Maria do that. She is a data scientist PhD candidate, and she has had amazing opportunities with a variety of companies that you will have known their names. And we also have Ann Beeman. Ann and I have known each other since she was a senior, and she is now a senior data engineer at the Wharton Research Data Services. So she'll tell you a little bit about what she does. And then we have two of our current seniors in our data science major, and they can give you a little bit of an idea of the coursework. So Maria, if I can ask you to just tell a little bit about what you've done, and then we'll move to Ann and our students.
Thank you, Rose. Yes, I'm sorry I will not turn on my camera because my internet is not that good at the moment. So I am a PhD student at Dr. Zoran Obradovich's lab. I guess some of you have heard of him. And I do pretty much first three roles Rose mentioned. I've done all of them. I've done internship with Alliance Data Systems as data scientist, and the idea was to look into new data set of geodata and locations of users and try to understand them and model them to answer the question they had. And usually as data scientists, basically you get data, you get the question, you find a way to answer it, which is really interesting. And then I worked with Facebook for 2 summers as a machine learning engineer intern, and upcoming internship this summer I will have at LinkedIn. Actually more as a machine learning scientist. Also as machine learning scientist, I work with bio department on protein understanding, and I worked with medical doctors as well in Temple Medical School. So you get a lot of opportunities to work with different areas, and literally you are a unicorn, especially if you understand something else besides computer science and mathematics. It is a very there is a huge demand for these people, and there are very few people of this kind. Please let me know if you have any questions regarding internships or anything. And also, good thing is that there are professors that will give you opportunities to do even research even while you are undergrad student. And I think Rose, we can mention a few of these opportunities. She worked with those students as well.
Yep. Thank you, Maria. I appreciate that. And next, I'd like to introduce Ann Beeman and allow her to tell you a little bit about how she came from her graduation up to this really cool, awesome role that she's in with Wharton.
Great, thank you, Rose. Hello, everybody, and congratulations to the Med students at Temple. You are entering an awesome journey, and I really loved my time at Temple, so I'm really excited for all of you. Temple is what made me stay in Philly. I was originally from California. I fell in love with the city, and I have not left since. I'm just outside of Philly now. So I majored in math and Spanish, and one of the courses that I needed to take for my math major was just one of 3 different intro to computer science courses. And coincidentally, I was in Dr. Hughes's intro to MATLAB course in my junior year. And like that, I had never had an applied mathematics experience like that. And I fell in love with the subject. And so I took intro to Java the next semester. And after that, I did the math, worked it out, and was able to fit in a computer science minor to round out my my education. And that minor in computer science is really what opened up the door to job opportunities. And I will clarify, the data science major did not exist when I went to Temple, but I think I have a good feeling that a lot of the courses that I took are going to overlap with the program that has developed over the past couple of years. So I worked at Almac Clinical Technologies in the healthcare industry for about 5 years. They're about 2 hours north of here in Lansdale, and they have a really good relationship with Temple. There's a handful of Temple, recent grads and still grads still working there. I wasn't doing anything data specific there, but I did interface with data, with patient data in clinical trial setting. And so I was doing a lot of programming and working with a core system to set up these clinical trials for the pharmaceutical companies to take it from there and start bringing patients in for randomization, drug allocation, tracking them throughout the study. After about 5 years, I wanted a change, and I also really wanted to come back into the city. So I was lucky and fortunate to get a job at Wharton, where I am now. And next month I'll have been there for 4 years. And on my team now, I am part of a data team. And so I'm a data engineer. I'm doing mostly data pipeline design, cleaning financial data, and the data that we get from other data vendors that we partner with, and my team makes it into a more consistent, more clean format, and the end result is a beautiful product that researchers from Penn and other universities around the country and around the globe can use for their academic research. So I can answer a lot of questions about data prep, data cleaning, the analytics, and the results of that I can speak highly of, but I'm not going to be able to go too much into detail about that. Hopefully the others here will help me with that. Also, I am very involved in the data science community in Philly. I'm going to throw a link in the chat. If you are not aware, there's a meetup group called Data Philly. We're the largest data-oriented meetup group in the Philadelphia region. And there are, of course, other data-specific groups and technology meetup groups that I encourage you to explore, but ours is the largest. We actually have an event at 6:00 p.m. Eastern time tonight, FYI. So if you're still yearning for some neuroscience-related data science talk, come join us.
Thanks so much, Annie. I promised Anne we'd have her off so she could take a break and get to her next meeting. So thanks for joining us. I'm now going to allow our students to talk. Dodge, I'll let you go first, and then Brendan, just a little bit about your experiences and what made you lean towards data science and some of the things you've learned?
All right, so I'm Dodge. I'm a senior data science student here at Temple. I'm in my last semester, so set to graduate very soon. I hope to return to school, to academia in general, to get my graduate degree, also in data science. I really love it. I loved it here at Temple. It's been great. My first experience that made me realize data science was for me was an undergraduate research project. I worked with a faculty advisor here, Dr. Edward Draggett. It was an incredible experience. He really kind of just set me loose to learn and play with everything that I could. So there's so many resources here and so many things to learn. So I really respected the way he let me go about it. And, he just kind of guided me along the way, and I just fell in love with engineering the data and mining and all of it. And I thought it was incredible. So that was my first experience with it. And I wouldn't have gotten it without Temple. So being here at Temple has been huge for me. And yeah, I've really enjoyed it ever since. So other than that, I've held positions here as a undergraduate teaching assistant, as well as lab assistants. So plenty of opportunity here at Temple, plenty of things to get involved with.
Yeah, that's great, Dodge. And I forgot to mention when I was talking earlier is we now have critical mass of students. And this semester, our students have started a specific data science club or student organization. They already have about 45 members. They're already working on projects. They're already attending competitions. They didn't like start in baby steps. They went zoom and are just doing really amazing, cool things. So you'll also have a community of people, besides all the other social and clubs that you can possibly join, but you also have an organization that's kind of like people to you or like interest to you. Brendan.
How you guys doing? I'm Brendan. Thank you all for having me. I want to give you guys maybe a little bit of a different perspective because when I came to Temple, I'd never heard of data science. I didn't intend to do data science. I came in as a computer science and physics major and then realized I didn't want to do a bunch of physics. So then I was a computer science and math major and then realized I didn't want to do a bunch of math. And then I was a computer science major. And then as an elective, I took, for my computer science major, I took the principles in data science class, where they teach you all of this hands-on Jupyter and Python ways of transforming data and building AI and machine learning. I promise I won't use too much jargon. But I loved that class so much that I actually switched to the data science major because I just wanted to learn more of these things and I didn't think I could teach them to myself. I actually primarily have a more software engineering background. I've been making apps and websites and things like that since high school. All of my internships in the past have been primarily software engineering based. But for anyone who's considering a data science major and is on the fence between that and a computer science major, I would recommend the data science major because your introductory classes for data science are the same, more or less, as a computer science major. And you'll come out of college having skills that could get you in the door as a data analyst at a company or as a software engineer. There's really no reason not to be a data science major these days because we're getting right before the point where the field really starts to take off. So I would highly recommend the major. If you're interested in research, Temple has a lot of great opportunities, even from your first year with the undergraduate research program. Temple also is a great brand name in Philly. So I didn't do research, but I've interned since after my freshman year. Whatever route you want to go, whether you come in meaning to do data science or not, I really recommend it. Definitely ask me any questions.
Brendan, we're gonna need you to record that and just put that on a flyer because I think that you answered every single question that that I was thinking. That thank you for putting that so eloquently.
So we really want to open it up to the floor for you. We have a great panel. They have lots of different expertise. We also have Dr. Hughes and Dr. Bellacourt, two of our data science instructors and faculty advisors. And we're here to answer your questions.
I think, Rose, before we get into that, since we've got a faculty senate tonight, first one this evening, the first evening one that I know of, maybe that's a trend in the future. I have several roles within the department. In addition to data science, I'm the graduate faculty advisor, and we have a wonderful +1 program. And I think it's not a bad idea to think of them as a package. That is to say, you get an undergraduate degree, but then for 1 more year, you get a master in data science or computational data science, which would place you in a very favorable position.
Yes.
You've heard Dodge say he's going to be doing graduate work. And I think that's a very good option because a lot of the more attractive data science courses are our graduate courses at the moment, not the undergraduate ones. And therefore you get a chance to take some of these really good data science courses. Also, you'll have a chance to work with these faculty members. So I think that's something you should consider. I mean, I know you don't think of it too early. I was talking to another student today and I said, he's thinking of graduate school, great. I said, what about PhD? No, I want to get to work, he said. So that's fine. But it's worth considering these things because, as was mentioned, the field is beginning to open up and the opportunities for you will be tremendous. So always drop by and hope in the fall, we're back at Temple. Just come by my office and I'm willing to chat to you. I do recognize a good number of my students here today. Good. But,
yeah, I'm working on Dodge getting his PhD. I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm working on it.
Right.
All right. So again, this is your chance to, talk to us, ask us any questions.
Yeah, and I can ask some of the questions too that the students asked when you registered for the event. But as Rose said, please use the chat feature. You can also private message either just myself or Rose if you don't want everyone to see your question. But I actually thought of a question that I think some students might have. I'm going to pose it to Rose and then we can open it up for everyone. Now, not going to pit these two experiences against each other because they both have advantages in their own right. But can you perhaps explain to the students what the advantages are to pursuing research versus pursuing an internship and why each of those is important?
Yeah, and I'll, both of the students mentioned research. There's no one better than the other. The best is to have both, right? So as Dodge and Brendan both said, we allow students to get involved in research their freshman year. And although Brendan was able to get an internship his freshman summer, not most students don't get that. Most employers are looking for you to get a little bit more seasoning under your belt, and those internships start opening up your second summer. So, with our really awesome undergraduate research program and for the demand for the skill across all of our research units, not just in our CIS department, you could take that first summer and do undergraduate research. And Danny, we pay you to do undergraduate research. So it's like an internship. We just label it as undergraduate research. And then the really cool thing is that goes on your resume, right? That's on Dodge's resume, prominent right up near the top, exactly what he worked on. So it is a resume building experience. So if you take your undergraduate research your first summer and then maybe continue to pull it into the fall, into the spring, and then maybe that second summer begin the internship, that's really the best of both worlds.
Can I just add something to what Rose said? So we had a few undergrad students working in our lab, and I was also mentoring them together with Professor Zoran. And actually, I know that all of these students were able to find jobs, some of them even at the beginning of their senior year, easily, and they had any problem finding an internship from the next summer. So I think taking that research step for the first summer is a great opportunity also for you to get better internships later on. So because those people really went to good companies such as Comcast, Vanguard, and so on. So yeah, yes, doing research is also good for you to get other non-academic positions later on.
Thank you, Maria. Yes, it's great. And it's interesting because a lot of students hear the word research and get scared. It sounds scary, right? Right, Dodge? When you first did it, you're like, I can't do research. I don't know how to do that. And it isn't. It really isn't scary. It's just a way to work very closely, sometimes one-on-one, like Dodge was saying, with a faculty member to, just really build skills, because a classroom is awesome, but it's those hands-on skills and those hands-on experiences that, make the light bulbs go off, like, oh, I love this. This is really cool. I want to keep doing this. So don't get turned off by the word research. It's not as scary as it sounds. And you don't have to have a whole bunch of background in research, right, Dodge? You never did research before you started. It's just a new skill you learn. So it's really cool. One of the questions is, what is the ratio of males to females in the data science curriculum? Well, that's one of the reasons why I invited this panel tonight. Overall, in all of the computer science curriculum, and Anne was a student, she'll tell you, we are still the minority, but we are a very strong minority, right, Abba?
Yeah.
And I'll have Abba talk a little bit about the students that are in her class. Temple is, and especially our computer science department, we are very, very laser focused on improving the representation of females and underrepresented minorities in our department. We work very hard at it. We have organizations specifically geared to our female students, and our female students really are oftentimes the leaders in many of our clubs and organizations. So although our numbers are not where we want them to be, they are higher than most of our surrounding universities. Our data science program is new, so we're still building that following. And as Anne will tell you, it is a field where women are welcomed and engaged and really trying to make a foothold. So Abba, I'll let you talk a little bit first about what you see in the classroom, and then Anne, what you're seeing in industry, and of course Maria in terms of research. So Abba.
Hi, everyone. Glad to be with all of you here today. In terms of diversity, I think, like Rose said, there's definitely scope for improvement, but we are putting in all our efforts towards improving that. And just to add to all of the wonderful things you said about our efforts, I think we also send some of our students to conferences like Grace Hopper and Richard Tapier and so on. So that has been a wonderful opportunity. And out of all those conferences, I also see that it's not just that, you go to the conference and that's the end of it. We come back and we share our insights on how we could further improve the diversity efforts and inclusion efforts. So that has been great. In fact, in my data science capstone course as well, we have certain individual student presentations where students are encouraged to talk about the fields within data science that they are specifically passionate about. And some of our students are passionate about increasing diversity and inclusion in the field in general. And so that has been a topic of discussion in the class as well. So yeah, that would be it. Did you say anything else that
No, that's great. That's great. Thanks, Abba. And how about a little bit about what you see in the industry and how, what we're doing can improve, and, what you're seeing in the industry in terms of gender and things of that diversity.
Great. So I tend to agree. There's definitely room for improvement. I'm actually on my team within Words, we're broken up into different tech teams and a research team, but on the data team specifically, I'm one of 3 women and one and soon to be another man who's being hired. So surprisingly, we're the majority for our team, which is really nice to see. I would say that I've met also within just the Wharton computing umbrella. I'm part of a group called WOW IT, Women of Wharton in IT. And so while it's not necessarily data specific, it's an affinity group within my workplace where we can come together, we can talk about diversity issues, things that we face, things that others face. A lot of that, I mean, when I was growing up, I was like raised to be like, you just do you, focus on you, like, don't worry about what other people say. And while that's great advice, it also kind of blinded me from some of the stuff that I was experiencing and others that were happening to other people. And I've learned a lot from being part of this group and similar groups. There's a Women in Data group that's growing, especially in the Philadelphia chapter over the last 2 years. And it's just really important to be aware of that, to not get discouraged. You may find yourself in in one of your data science courses, and you're in a class of 15 people, you're one of 2 women. That may happen. Just try not to get discouraged. And more often than not, like, your classmates are not thinking about your gender when they're in class. So I would say, like, be aware of those issues, be aware of those differences, and be aware of everybody's differences. But I think that the more that we address that, and obviously just with time, will even out, hopefully. But yeah, I do think the diversity and just programs encouraging, girls in high school and below to get into math and science and to prosper in the data science community is definitely growing.
Yeah, and our students have been awesome in this as well. I agree with you 100%, Anna. I don't see any, and Dodge and Brendan can talk about this, I don't see any issues amongst or between our students. In fact, we do things like our students do them, we don't do them, the faculty. We have students who volunteer with Tech Girls in the area, and that's our female students and our male students. They both volunteer to be instructors for Tech Girls, which is a great organization that brings different technology education and promotional opportunities to middle school girls. And it's something we address and we're aware of and organically want to make better all the time. Okay, any other questions, Danny?
Just wanted to add quickly, Rose, to the discussion on this topic, that the Data 8 course, which we are now offering, I expect that will further enhance the diversity, because that's an intro level course that's aimed at everyone in the College of Science and Technology who is looking to get a feel for what data science is. And so a lot of our students are particularly inspired after that experience to learn more about the subject. And I think that will definitely be something that contributes positively towards diversity.
Thanks, Alba. I agree.
And
we did receive 2 more questions. So I just want to make sure that we get to all the questions tonight. One thing that I did want to add, and I put this in the chat, is we had an entire event about 2 weeks ago about the diversity in our computer and information sciences department and the initiatives and programs that we have surrounding that. So if anyone is interested, I'm more than happy to send you the recording. And our panel was almost entirely female, which is great. So we did, I am receiving messages directly privately, which is awesome. That's a great way to do it. So one of the questions said, what type of mathematics are incorporated in the data science field?
Dr. Hughes, I think you're perfect to answer that question. You're on mute though.
There we go. Yeah, well, the program itself requires Calc 1, Calc 2, Calc 3, and a good amount of statistics. But I would be quite honest to say the more math you can do, the better you will be, because the field is very mathematically based. So I always tell the math and computer science majors, you are well prepared for doing at least a minor in data science. The mathematics is extensive, maybe even Apka can comment on that, but you should also do things like linear algebra. Maybe Brendan and company can respond to that. Yeah. So you should do linear algebra. And I don't think it hurts to do modern algebra because some of the structures that you deal with in modern algebra will appear. They're abstract at the beginning, but they're not when you get down. This is the same as if you're doing quantum mechanics, say. It requires some group theory. And so it doesn't hurt, I feel, to take advantage of taking as much mathematics as you can as you go through. Don't overload yourself, obviously, but I would throw certainly linear algebra into the mix, and maybe a little bit of modern algebra, or if they've got in the math department a combinatorics course, graph theory course, something like that, that deals with an underlying structure that you might be using in your models that you're constructing. So that's.
But I will say that Brendan and Dodge, you can survive the math, right?
Yeah, and to be fair, I came into college, I was like, oh, this will be great. I'll just like write some code and then like I'll graduate, right? My plan was to do literally no math, if at all possible. That did not end up being how it all worked out. But I do think the math that we do here is valuable. Sometimes when you're in the moment, you're like, oh my gosh, why are we learning this? But then you'll be at your internship and you'll be like, oh, I see now, like that graph theory that we learned in Dr. Hughes's class, like this is how we're going to use that. So I really do think the math curriculum here is valuable. I've never found it particularly overwhelming. As maybe just as a general study tip, like take a step back when you're learning math. That's the one piece of concrete advice I can give. Like sometimes the classes you'll end up studying and looking at the details more than the bigger picture. And if as you're going through these math classes, you just remember to take a step back, try to just conceptually understand things, you'll be fine.
Yeah, and that's really
very helpful.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Brendan. And the thing too, I think is really important is our students are very collaborative in nature. Like when they're all in class, they'll study together and they'll form study groups, and especially in math. That is definitely an area where students will gather together, study together, review together. And in our CIS department, we also have formal CIS tutors, which can also be used for the math courses. And we actually hire students to work with other students if you get stuck, right? We all get stuck somewhere on a concept. It happens all the time. But we're very attuned to not leaving anyone alone and not leaving someone out in the cold. There's always help when you need it. And I have just found the students to be so collaborative in nature with working with one another. All right, Danny, any other questions? I know we're running out of time.
Yes. So let's see. Someone asked, I am planning to major in computer science currently. Would you recommend adding a data science minor or switching to data science instead? I'm unsure of the benefits data science would bring versus computer science. So not trying to cannibalize our own programs here, but maybe just kind of trying to, go ahead, Brennan.
Yeah.
This was my whole thing. I would recommend that you do the data science if that's something you're really interested in. From my own experience, like still being more software focused, you're always going to be able to learn the software engineering things on the side or in a job, but it's just a lot harder to develop the discipline to teach data science to yourself. And data science, while it's less known now, like if I'm pre-COVID at a party or hanging out with friends and someone's like, what's your major? I'm like, data science. They're like, what's that? I'm like, picture computer science with more graphs and like more data. It's a lot more than that. But even though it's a lesser known field right now, I guarantee you in 5 to 10 years, you're going to be glad you got that degree when you go ask for a promotion and it's you versus someone who just had a computer science degree.
Thanks, Brendan. And the truth is, guys, it doesn't matter the first year. Both programs start off with the same base curriculum. So you won't make a bad start. So don't think if you start in computer science, you can't go into data science. Or if you start in data science, you can't go back to computer science. They allow for that flexibility to go back and forth. So it's kind of like Brendan said, take your first course, see if it interests you. Like Ann said, right? The light bulb came on in Dr. Hughes' class and, so those things will happen to you. And the courses are set up so that you can move back and forth without too much trouble.
Yeah. And really, like, I didn't switch into it till second semester of my sophomore year, maybe. And that really wasn't a problem. As long as you do it at some point in your sophomore year, it shouldn't have any effect on taking like duplicate classes.
Great. Well, this will be our final call for questions. So make sure that you put them in the chat if there's anything that you want to ask. The last one that I see here is just a question. So maybe Dodge, you can answer. And then if any of the faculty want to chime in, do you need to have any type of coding background to go into data science?
I mean, coming from high school into college, no, you're going to learn all the coding that you need throughout the curriculum. So I was a transfer. I was a media major at a school in a different state. I never wanted to touch math. I never wanted to be a computer programmer. I never wanted to do any of that. I was into making film and everything. So I was similar to Brendan in that regard. I didn't really think this was going to be for me. But once I got to Temple, I started as a computer science major and I learned everything. And like they said, all the courses overlap so well. And I switched my second year at Temple, I switched to data science and haven't looked back since. So you do learn all the coding and everything that you need, all the math and everything you will get through the curriculum.
Yeah, you definitely need to have some programming experience to do computer science. For my job, I am working with Python probably every day. I also work with SAS because it's an academic institution. A lot of researchers still use SAS, even though it's a historically older program, but very powerful for analysis. And I've picked up a couple other languages here and there, but I think that those foundational skills of programming, the key concepts, object-oriented, just if you can learn how to code in one language, you can build the skills to be able to learn any language. I use Python every day at my job. I did not know Python before getting hired. And I was very honest and upfront about that. You never want to lie about the skills that you have on your resume. You better back it up. When they ask me, oh, we see MATLAB on your resume, I'll be like, I did that 5 years ago, but give me a couple days and I'll be able to refresh my skills and, remind myself what MATLAB is. But, they gave me the opportunity and yeah, I'm working with Python now. I'm still learning. I'm no expert, but definitely have those foundational skills down pat.
Great. Well, if any of our panelists want to add any, last words of wisdom or anything that you want to share, please feel free to do so at this time.
I want to, sorry,
no,
Daniel, I want to say something just related to what Anne said now, and also really answer a bit the question, do you do computer science versus data science? I think the main difference is if you do data science, at least as a minor, you get also some background in mathematics, so you get baselines if you ever in future decide to that you want to also switch more towards data. How I see industry going, because I wanted to do machine learning since 2013. It is going to go more towards machine learning and less towards computer science. So there wouldn't be that much demand on the second side, I would say. But yeah, so taking at least some data science courses, even if you're a computer science major, would give you basics if you want to do data science later on.
Thanks, Maria.
Great.
Danny, I can stick around for a little while, maybe a couple other folks. So if you have a private question you just want to ask us, I know I want to be respectful of people's time. We're excited that you're going to all join us in the fall in our CIS department, whatever major you pick. You are welcome. And, feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions.
Yes,
and I'm going to let you go because I promised you 5:45 and we're just about there. So if you have any follow-up questions for Anne, we'll be happy to get them to her. Thank you, Anne.
I'd be happy to answer them, and thank you for having me, and really, again, really excited for everybody doing this, whichever path you choose once you start your Temple career. So congratulations.
Thanks, Anne.
All right, take care, everybody.
Thanks, Anne. Yeah, and to the students, thank you all so much for coming tonight. As Rose said, please stick around if you want to ask any personal questions, but for everyone else that has to run, thank you for joining us tonight. I'll be happy to send out the recording. We also do have 2 more virtual admitted students day in April. These are big events, so they're run through the university, but we will have a session on Zoom on both dates. They're at 10:30 a.m. Don't worry, I will email you about it. But on these days, it'll be all of the departments within the College of Science and Technology. Just another opportunity for you to meet and hear from faculty, current students, and alum about their experiences. Temple is also offering a limited number of on-campus tours. So if you would like to come to campus and see what it's all about, you can sign up for those on your TU portal. If you have any trouble doing so, please let me know. And I would also be happy to meet you on campus the day that you sign up for your campus visit. So just let us know. There's tons of options. Once you decide, or if you decide that Temple is the place you want to spend your time next year, you can make your deposit on your TU portal to reserve your spot at any time. And again, please email me with any questions that you have. My email is D as in my first name and then london@temple.edu. So thank you all so much. I'm going to leave because I have another event, but I'll keep the room open with Rose, but everyone have a great night.
Thanks, Danny.
Is Apka there? Yeah, Apka, how's your course going?
Hold on one second, Tony. Anybody final questions? Just one-on-one?
Maybe they forgot
Yes,
to
they
disconnect.
Yeah.
Okay.
there you go.
Okay.
Thank you, Maria.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks so much. Okay, go ahead, Tony. Sorry, I just in
Yeah,
case. I just wanted to make.
that's fine. Oh, by the way, Dodge, just send me an email where you're at as far as applications are concerned. I know we had some discussions that I'd like to know where we're at as well. But Apka, yeah. So this is the first time we've got a capstone. Took a long time getting that in place. So how's it going? How many students do you have, and how's it going?
Dodge and Brendan are both in my capstone class.
Yeah.
We have a total of 7 students this semester, so it's a pretty small class.
That's not bad.
Yeah, so I think it's a lot of fun because we are less number of people. As to how well the course is going, I think Brendan and Dodge can speak better about that. But I personally am quite satisfied with how it's turning out so far. We just had, last week we had this week where I met one-on-one with students, either for a mock interview or to do grad school application review with them, and just to gear them towards whatever it is that they're planning for in the future. And it was a lot of fun because I studied a lot. Like I got to know a lot about how a data science interview is conducted, and I have now a proper document containing all the resources and in which priority somebody should be studying them to get a data science job interview. So
Wow, Abba, that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
you guys are lucky.
Yeah, and I had never had an actual data science interview before. Like that
That's
was
amazing.
more helpful than you'll ever know.
No.
That's Abba, kudos to you. Congratulations. Guys,
this
lucky.
idea came out of the CAT conference that I attended in January. And one of the faculty members just mentioned that they gave a sort of a break week for the students, and they did mock interviews. It was more of a behavioral mock interview that they conducted, I think. But I did different things for each of my classes, and since this is a class of all the seniors, so I thought this is something that might make the most sense for this class.
Amazing.
And yeah, so that's that. And then other than that, we have been having lots of fun activities. I think we had we had a brochure creation activity. We had case studies on ethics in data science.
Oh, nice. Okay, so
And
Abba, are there any girls in your class?
one.
Well, that's it. Actually, that's not bad. One
Yeah.
out of 7.
There were 2 to begin with, but then one switched to,
Okay.
I think, a
1
research
out of 7
capstone.
is not bad.
Yeah.
It's about normal.
I mean, one thing I'm going to say, I didn't mention to the group, but the advantage of Temple. Penn has 1,000 computer science majors, and that's a huge number compared to the undergraduate body.
Yeah.
I think it's 6,700 they have. And you have to, some courses, and I imagine something like Appa's course, you have to wait 1.5 years sometimes to get in. There's a queue to get into some of these attractive courses. And there's a lot of complaints, by the way, as a result of that. But that's one of the advantages right now that Temple has. With this program at its beginning stage, if you want to go into a class, if you want to get into a class, you can.
Well, don't worry. With all the data 8 courses that Abba's teaching, we're gonna fill this thing in no time. Guys, I apologize. I have to go because I actually have to join the alumni meeting in 15 minutes. So I've made you co-host, Abba. You guys can stay on and talk, but I do have to go. Brendan and Dodge, thank you so much.
Oh, of course.
Really, really appreciate you taking the time to do this.
I will talk anytime you want. I just love to
Be
hear
careful.
myself
Be
talk.
careful what you say.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Because
Never
you know.
mind. Yeah, I should be careful.
Yeah, no, it's nice to be a nice size program. The math and computer science is another one. It's a nice size program.
Mhm.
People can get into the courses they want to get into. And I really think that's a virtue of Temple. So we shouldn't lose that to a certain extent. But of course, it requires us hiring faculty, which is very hard because, as you see, data science is very popular. And so getting faculty to come is a little bit difficult, but we'll see what we can do. I do have to actually go to a faculty senate meeting. I'm not quite sure what the agenda is today, but as I said, it's the first one we're having in the evening. So this might be a historical first. I can well believe that this will be a trend, that post-COVID, there will be a lot of activity on Zoom that used to be during the day will be set for the evening. And so it'd be interesting how we develop in the fall, after this whole thing. But I'll catch up with everybody. Dodge, don't forget to send me a quick email telling me what you're up to. Okay. Okay, very good.
All right.
I'll see you later.
Bye.
Have a good night.
You too.